Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, broadcasting on Channels Television live from Lagos. Well, here are some eyewitness photos you sent into our portal. And we'll begin with this photo sent in from Ojota area in Lagos State. It shows high voltage wires dangling from an electricity pole. Our eyewitness reporter is calling on the relevant authorities to fix the wires before an accident occurs. Our next photo was sent in from Wharf Road in Kaduna State. It shows this overloaded motorcycle and its rider attempting to cross a major junction. Our eyewitness reporter is calling on the Federal Road Safety Corps to apprehend and prosecute those who flout traffic regulations. And finally, this photo sent in from Owerri in Imo State shows a commercial motorcycle partially squashed by a truck along the Onitsha-Owerri highway. Our eyewitness reporter wants the state authorities to stop tricycles from operating along this route. We do appreciate you for sending in those pictures, as we ask that you keep them coming. Now let's go straight to Kogi State, where the elections have been expected, and our reporter Lanre Lasisi will be talking to us now. He's been covering the elections all day there. Lanre, let's get your thoughts. What more do we know? What has been set in place to ensure that this elections goes hitch-free, devoid of elections problems, as we have seen in past elections, violence to be precise?
Okay, well, I can tell you that now INEC is now ready. I was at the office with some past officials walking around, going, making sure that they have all the putting in place all the
Just before I left the commission late in the evening, a meeting had taken place between the resident electoral commissioner and some of the top officials of the commission, with all the returning officers, the collation officers for each of the polling units that will where elections will take place on Saturday. So everything is being put in place according to the officials to make sure that they carry out this assignment well. The police on their own part say they are ready to give extra officials to make sure that security is maintained at the polling units. I'm sure you're aware we are going to have elections. The supplementary elections will only take place in 91 polling units in 18 local governments. Some of these local governments, like in Ijumu, will only have one polling unit. But for each of these units, they say they will have enough police presence. And that police presence is outside the other officials that will be present at those polling units. So according to what they say, they're ready for the elections.
Interesting. You earlier sent in a report about the women protesters who later on got dispersed by the police, and they demanded that they wanted James Faleke to be declared the winner of the November 21st elections. This demand, has it been met yet?
Yes. Well, that demand hasn't been met. While they were protesting, the resident electoral commissioner approached them, he spoke with them, and he told them he received a letter. He said they had the letter, they should bring it. He will send it to Abuja, to the headquarters, where that decision will be taken. But that was the reason he gave to the women to persuade them to live there. But I can tell you as of now, no information if that demand has been met.
Lanre Lasisi, do appreciate you. Always exciting to talk to you anytime, any day. But keep safe though. Let's shift our focus now. I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by a lecturer at the Faculty of Law at the University of Lagos, Dr. Yemi Oke. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming on the news at 10 at this time. Let's look at the Kogi State elections a little bit deeper. Despite all the legal issues being thrown up, INEC is going ahead to conduct the supplementary elections in Kogi. Is this not subjecting the whole process to litigation?
Absolutely. and quite frankly, endless litigation is what we foresee at the end of the day. Election, supplementary election for Saturday, that's definite. INEC has power to do so, but what happens afterward? So to me, it's like we are putting nothing on something, and that can definitely not stand. Demands of the women protesters is quite valid. The steps taken by APC is also permissible. The steps being taken, also the suit of the PDP is also permissible. And a whole lot of confusion out there. There's a constitutional crisis in the offing. And the reason for that is simple. Nothing much has been said as to the exact provision of Section 141 of the Electoral Act, which actually is a new provision to take care of the Amishi case. Amishi case, the law now says you cannot, on no condition, will court or tribunal be able to declare anybody as a winner unless the person has taken part in every aspect of the elections. So when you talk of every aspect of the election, we are talking of primaries and the general election. Let's start with Falike. Falike didn't take part in the primaries. He took part in the general election. Talking of Yaya Bello, Bello never participated in the general election. He participated in the primaries. So if it goes ahead, it will only be participating in the general election vis-a-vis the 91 polling units.
So what happens now that
so
Falike says that he's pulling out?
There is a serious problem. Falike is pulling out.
So what happens to the votes now that they've gathered together?
So the vote they've gathered together will go to the runners-up, which is the incumbent, because the election of Yaya without Falike will be, of course, invalid. Falike's election as a substantive candidate without participating in the primaries will be invalid. Yaya's election for 91 polling units out of the whole, the entire state will still not be valid. The only thing now that seems a bit real and valid is the process and the procedure that throw up the incumbent.
Let's look at the process. In your thoughts, do you feel that INEC should have waited little and sorted out all these issues before declaring a supplementary elections to take place again?
I honestly would think INEC was a bit hasty. INEC should have tarried a bit to ask for guidance, because it's not a political solution that you can devise. It's not an institutional solution. The solution is purely legal, and you just have to state a case. You can do that at the federal court or a court of first instance, except and unless a state is involved. That's when the Supreme Court will become the court of first instance. For this case to go to the federal court, the federal court may state a case to the Court of Appeal. Hey, Court of Appeal.
So what do we do while we wait for the Supreme Court's judgment?
Nothing. The election will have to go on, but then the outcome will have to be keenly tested, and the outcome will have to go the way the Supreme Court will interpret or so declare at the end of the day.
Doctor,
we are not there yet. It's just still a long way to go, but definitely.
We do appreciate your time and your thoughts.
Thank you very
on the
much.
subject. Dr. Yemi Oke from the Faculty of Law, University of Lagos. We do appreciate your time and your thoughts.
Thank you.
The Nigeria Police Force says that it will deploy at least 14,000 personnel for Saturday's Bayelsa State governorship elections. Inspector General of Police Solomon Arase said this while briefing officers and men at the command unit in Yenagua. He asked the officers to remain committed to strengthening the country's democracy by remaining non-partisan. In the meantime, preparations are in top gear to ensure the polls are free, fair and credible. Our political correspondent Seun Okimbaloye, who is in Yenagua, now reports.
This is in the roundabout in the heart of Yenagua, the capital of Bayelsa State. It's just few days to the election. Traffic is flowing just as normal. Businesses are going just as usual. Just ahead of me is the INEC office, where loads and loads of activities are going The deployment of materials to different centers are also going on in town. In some parts of the state, at the Yanagua local government area, voters are there waiting to collect their permanent voter cards. A lot of them are agitated about what they feel may be a sort of disenfranchisement if they were not able to collect their permanent voter cards.
3 hours. They can't give it to me. Even those that registered since last year, in 2011, they are here.
For more than 2 weeks now, I came here and I discovered that it's not yet out now. It was yesterday that I got an information that the permanent voters card is right here now in INEC office. So that is the reason why I'm here.
Also, in some other part of town, NYC members who are going to be used as ad hoc staff are gearing up for the exercise. They've been trained for several days. In fact, today is the last day of their training.
Purpose is to ensure that all the security agencies provide adequate cover for our core members that are taking part in this electoral process. And for those that will be going across the waters, there must be life jacket for them, which will be provided by ANEC. ANEC has already assured us of that, and they must go with security agencies accompanying them.
At every point you get to in town, this is the likelihood of what you see. Security operatives are manning major junctions, major points in Yanagua, the capital, and in fact in every point in the state, at every local government area, loads and loads of deployment of security operatives you will find there. A lot of them are armed to the teeth. For voters, they're looking forward to the D-Day, and for residents of the state, the anticipation is that everything is going to go smooth without any violence.
As you can see, you could see security agencies all over the environment, and it's going to be peaceful, and I look forward to the election process.
I believe that our votes will count.
Just as voters are getting ready, gladiators also are dotting their I's and crossing their T's, preparing for the D-Day. They are doing their final campaigns and talking to the voters for Saturday polls. But then we look forward to this day and hoping that one, security will be okay and won't be without violence, and again, the conduct will be free and fair. From Yanagua, the capital of Bayelsa State, Shunwa Kimbaloye, reporting for Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10. After 5 straight days of bearish run, the Nigerian Stock Exchange stages a comeback. That's on business news. Join us again.